Hi there, I'm giving you a bit more length today, so bloomin' much to pack in. Later, the gay safe sex ads withdrawn in New Zealand. But first, an Australian sports team's lost its sponsorship for being part of some special pride matches celebrating diversity. Waratah Football Club's been emailed by Darwin Pilates Studio saying the business needs to take the moral high ground. They reference gender mutilation and the woke agenda. Plus, and this is very big of them, they do understand the team was probably acting out of ignorance. Got this clip of Downton Abbey in my head for some reason.
Does it ever get cold on the moral high ground?
Waratah says it proudly stands with its LGBTQ+ community. Darwin Pilates Studio, that's Darwin Pilates Studio, has since had a load of bad reviews on Google. Next, more than $100 million is being promised for queer organisations and initiatives around the world. It's been announced by something called the Global Philanthropy Project in response to a big rise in attacks on LGBTQ+ rights and some long-term donors scaling back. Pledges to the Fund Our Futures campaign coming from governments and corporate backers, plus groups including the Queer Livelihoods Project and Lesbian Global. It's thought a gay teenager could be the youngest ever elected official in Utah in America. Jackson Lewis only left high school a year ago. The 19-year-old's been voted onto the Canyon School Board in Salt Lake City. He's also the first out queer person to manage this. Jackson tells Fox 13 News Utah he's born to do it.
I've been a political nerd since I've been conscious, right? Those who have known me since I've been little know that I like talking about policy. And I thought, do you know what? This is the perfect way to get involved, not just in the political world, but also education is so dramatically important.
Among the issues Jackson plans to focus on, you've got later school start times and more free meals for hungry students. 19 years old. When I was 19, I was drunk the whole year. And some gay safe sex adverts have been withdrawn in New Zealand, basically because they're a bit filthy. One showed a cartoon of a bare bum bum with the slogan, "First timers enter here." Another ad reimagined the letters I and O as a gentleman's rude bits. 86 complaints were made, all by me. Disgusting. No Time to Tell You Uzbekistan in Central Asia's drawing up some new anti-queer legislation, and a ban on LGBTQ+ groups taking part in the Staten Island St. Patrick's Day Parade in New York has been lifted after 60 years. Hi there, it's another bumper episode. Later, the 34th Melbourne Queer Film Festival's underway. We'll start with this though. The killer of a gay Jewish teenager who was stabbed 28 times has been sentenced to life in prison. 19-year-old Blaze Bernstein was found buried in a park southeast of Los Angeles back in 2018. Samuel Woodward, who's 27, will never be paroled for the hate crime murder. He is part of the victim impact statement from Blaze's mother, Jeannie Pepper Bernstein.
To lose my firstborn child, my dream for the future. My partner in fun is the single worst, most painful thing that has ever happened to me.
She also referenced the horrific injuries her son suffered.
Stabbed in the face, stabbed in his kind blue eyes that could see things most can't see, stabbed in his warm hands that penned beautiful poems and stories, stabbed in the neck from where his beautiful singing voice poured.
Woodward wasn't in court to hear that statement because he was a bit unwell, apparently. Queer people are among the groups being targeted by another wave of hateful text messages being received across America. Some contain the instruction to report to a re-education camp, seemingly for conversion therapy. The FBI is investigating. An initial round of texts a few days earlier targeted African American and black communities. One of Australia's top broadcasters has been charged with sexually abusing a 17-year-old boy and 7 men. Alan Jones is accused over alleged incidents between 2001 and 2019. The 83-year-old coached the country's rugby union side in the 1980s. He denies any misconduct. Hundreds of people have gathered at the American LGBTQ+ venue, where 5 people were shot dead 2 years ago today. 19 others were injured at Club Q in Colorado in 2022 during a drag queen's birthday celebration. Another memorial is taking place at the site this evening, ahead of what's being called a night of resilience and strength. Survivor Edward Sanders was shot twice that night. He tells 9 News he's turning the trauma into something positive.
Since the shooting, I've decided to live my life, and I don't care who cares or what they say, but the important thing is it's my life, and I'm not answering to anybody.
Anderson Lee Aldrich admitted hate crimes and gun charges. The 24-year-old will die in prison. Plans to spend the money from a school fundraiser on chest binders for transgender pupils have been scrapped. This was suggested by student members of the Equalities Group at Bannerman High in Glasgow, but it's caused a kerfuffle, so the cash will go to other causes. The binders allow trans people to flatten their chests to help them present as male. And the 14th Melbourne Queer Film Festival's well underway. It's Australia's longest-running showcase of LGBTQ+ cinema, with 151 movies on the lineup. Among them, Any Other Way, the Jackie Shane story, all about the life of a groundbreaking black transgender performer. Absolutely no time to tell you that US pro basketball player LaMelo Ball's been fined $100,000 for using an anti-gay phrase in a post-game interview. Plus, we've had Pride in Lesotho in South Africa and Santiago in Chile. Hi there. Later, why you shouldn't mess with Ken Suzuki's rainbow socks. First though, Transgender Day of Remembrance is being marked with events around the world. It's a chance to honour the lives lost in acts of anti-trans violence. 350 reported murders of transgender and gender-diverse people in the last 12 months. That's up 29 on the year before. There are 2 groups who are particular targets.
Trans women and trans women of color are being brutally murdered throughout the world. Few people know their names, and their communities suffer in silence. And that's why we have a Trans Day of Remembrance every year, so we can at least say their names, at least give them that honor and respect.
Gay California State Senator Scott Wiener talking to ABC7. He's done lots of work to strengthen queer civil rights. Transgender Day of Remembrance has been marked since 1999 after the murder of Rita Hester the previous year. She was a black trans woman who was stabbed in Boston, in America. Survivors and families of victims of the Club Q attack in America have announced plans to sue on the 2nd anniversary of the shootings. 5 people died and 19 were injured at the Colorado LGBTQ+ venue. It's alleged the club's owners were negligent with security and local authorities didn't enforce a law that would have stopped the attacker owning guns. And after a man was stopped from wearing rainbow socks in a court in Japan, he's suing the country's government. Ken Suzuki was told to cover them up by the judge in a hearing on same-sex marriage. The Tokyo law professor reckons the court exceeded its authority as the socks didn't disrupt proceedings. No time to tell you that. European Testing Week starts today, raising awareness about early testing for the likes of HIV and hepatitis. Plus, the theme for World Pride in Washington next year will be the fabric of freedom. Hi there. Later, the evil gay joining WWE. First though, if 2 transgender women are being attacked in the street, you'd hope someone would step in, wouldn't you? Well, in downtown Minneapolis in America, the opposite's happened.
No one came to help them, no one. And in fact, they said that people were cheering the attackers on while they were getting beaten.
Amber Mum from Trans Movement for Liberation speaking to WCCO. Police say Dahlia and Jess had confronted a group of transphobes who were shouting abuse. The pair were left with multiple injuries, including a broken nose and bruised ribs. A rally's been held in a show of support. No one arrested up to now. Romania could soon have its first openly gay lawmaker. LGBTQ plus activist Florin Buhuceanu's running to be an MP on December 1st, so he can get same-sex marriage legalised. Romania was ordered to do this 18 months ago by the European Court of Human Rights, but it still hasn't. You're more than twice as likely to vape if you're queer. A report from America's Public Health Department says 37.8% of gay, lesbian and bisexual adults have tried e-cigarettes. The stat's 16.5% for the straights. And WWE's signing up an evil gay. That's the nickname of Aaron Rourke, who's the first out queer wrestler to join the new ID programme that supports the development of independent pro wrestling talent with funding, training and mentoring. The 28-year-old's finisher is the figure 8 leg lock, and I have no idea what any of those words actually mean. No time to tell you that. It's thought Thailand legalising same-sex marriage could earn the country $2 billion annually through increased queer tourism. And FIFA's announced funding for the International Gay and Lesbian Football Association for the next couple of years. Hi there. Later, can you help Zoe with her transition? First though, a school play about the hate crime murder of a gay student has been postponed right at the last minute. The Laramie Project's about Matthew Shepard, whose killing shocked America in 1998. Education chiefs in Phoenix say there's issues with the themes and language and they want a rewrite. This student from Cesar Chavez High School tells Fox 10 Phoenix that's not acceptable.
If you change all of the language that was said, is it really even a hate crime anymore? Like you're censoring it. Like these real things were said about this person that died because of a hate crime. You're changing history. That's not okay. Students had spent 3 months working on the play, and there's more on Matthew Shepard's murder in our A to Z of LGBTQ+ from last New Year's Eve. A man's admitted using Grindr to attack and rob people. In one of 3 incidents last year, Michael Quinn from Dublin pulled a knife on a man and stole phones, a bank card and a car. The 24-year-old's been remanded in custody and he's going to be jailed, the judge said. And let's spread a bit of love for the weekend. Zoe Carter is a queer rights advocate in Illinois in the US, and she's trying to raise the money to transition. Her GoFundMe's up to $558 at the last count, but the target is $10,000. That, of course, might be a stretch, but for anything you can donate, there's a link to a transition fund in the podcast's description. No time to tell you that. Durham Constabulary's become the UK's 21st police force to say sorry for its past persecution of queer people. I'm Kev McGrath. See you Monday.